This is the video answer for exercise 5 of Project Centurion. So in this exercise we have a user-specific request to unlock a firewall rule to access the reporting portal for the Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager when the user is away, because when he's in the enterprise he has access to the server, so he can access the console and do reporting that way. When he's remote, he just wants to actually use the web browser to be able to do reporting. So instead of generating new firewall policy and put the client in a group with a new set of policy to manage just for one user, we are going to leverage what is called location specific settings. So we can actually detect with location awareness where the computer is, and based on that we assign a location, and for that location we'll be able to allow the user to create their own settings. So first off, we need to move the client WCWCS01 to the specific group. That's the one that was pre-configured for you for this exercise. And in this group, you will notice that you have actually two locations. So that's where we use location awareness. So we have a location that's called away and a location that's called office. So to go with the request, we have to check on the location-specific settings. Client user interface control settings here are controlled by the server. So what we want to do is just for this location give a mixed control so that the server can have some control and the user has also some control. So now that this is in place, we can go to our client, simulate that location away so that we can create the rule locally to allow the traffic to that specific web portal. So we're now on the client, so we can see here that we attempted to access that reporting portal. I'm going to refresh and you can see that the page doesn't display. We have a timeout, and this is due to the firewall rule that blocks it. So what we're doing now is we are going to simulate the away location. So we double click on the away.reg file, accept, and once we have this, we can check on the client. So looking under help troubleshooting, that we are on the away location. And on this specific location, if we're going now to network and host mitigation, we have the ability of configuring firewall rules. Okay, so this was not there before. So now we're going to add a new rule to allow the communication to the web portal. So that's something that should override the settings that are set centrally. The rule name, we're going to allow traffic. The host, we have to put some IP address, and here in the field we're going to use a range because we have the two IP address for SEPM01 and SEPM02 that are contiguous. So, okay. Ports and protocol, so this is very specific. So we need to put TCP and the remote port is 8445. And now we click OK, and we have a firewall rule that's in place. So let's test and see if, because we created our rule here, if we have actually the ability to access that website. And as you can see, the page still doesn't display. So what is really happening? We're going back to the firewall policy because it goes a bit beyond in terms of configuration. When you use the mixed mode, the server also has a set of rules which can have precedence over the rules you set locally. As an administrator, you still have a control of key firewall rules that you don't want to actually give away a specific access. Let's say you still block RDP access. You do not want to allow that. Even the user try to poke holes in the firewall, that is still blocked and centrally managed. So let's go and look at this setting on the SEP manager. So if I'm editing now the firewall policy, I'm going to rules, and I see that I have my block SEPM reporting, and there's a blue line here. So that blue line has actually an importance. Everything above that line has precedence over what is set locally. Okay, so even though we allowed specifically the user to have the UI and create their rules, because the rule is above the blue line, it's that centrally managed rule that's overriding the settings. Now let's move this down, okay? So it's still written block here. So I'm just going to do move down. The rule is under. So I still have my block for when users don't have any settings, like for example, you're in the office location, you will have the same firewall policy in place, centrally managed, but then the block will be used. Okay, so we're just updating this, waiting for a second for the policy to be pushed to the client, and now we're going to click refresh. And as you can see, now we have access to that site. So just to show you what it looks like, basically you have just the equivalent of the first 3 tabs on the top of your reporting console. So you just can look at events, analyze issues with your environment, but you cannot set any policies or change anything from there. You just can monitor. Okay, so that is the access to that site. So if you remember, we said that it's the same policy for both location, office and away. And it's only on away that I have that local exception that's created by the user. Let's go back and move the client to the office location. So I'm just clicking here on office.reg. I load the import. So the client moved to the office location. And now let's see if I'm refreshing or I'm going to another page here to navigate. We see that we have a timeout. So the centralized control rule is in action here. It's under the blue line. So it means that when we are away, the user can do whatever is set in the local rules. But when we're in the office location, then the centrally managed rule takes over. So this concludes exercise 5 of Project Centurion.